James, thank you for taking time with us at Off the Block blog. And after playing a fun and challenging scrimmage against Shandong, can you give us a recap of the match as you saw it?
Yeah, so I think that coming into this game, we really weren't sure how things were going to go. We haven't up to this point started our 20-hour time block, and so this was our first real chance to play as a team for more than an hour. And so there were a lot of moving pieces that I think coming into it, not everyone was really sure how that was going to work out, and you kind of saw that I think early on a little bit. There were some passing struggles a little bit, and people, new freshmen and transfers, trying to figure out kind of how they fit into that system. And it was you kind of saw that in the first 3 sets, and I think as the match went on a little bit, we played 5 sets total. As the match went on a little bit, we kind of cleaned some things up, and I think towards the end we started playing a little bit better, and that's what we want to do. Want to be going up in that constant kind of trajectory.
What kind of challenges did Shandong present to you? And then not the challenge of not being able to prepare for them ahead of time, but what were the strengths?
Yeah, so I think that they had some really good float serves, and I think we kind of knew that a little bit, so we've been prepping for that a little bit in practice, and it kind of still caught us off guard maybe a little bit. Tough float serves, and they had some big middles who moved the ball around a lot and contacted the ball at a really high point, which caused some challenges for our defense a little bit. Our block was in some pretty good spots, and just our defense was not quite set behind that. But they're a good team, and I think they've been playing some matches before this, and so I think as the match went on, might have gotten a little bit tired. But I think that they're definitely a good team, and it was a good challenge to start off our preseason here.
Did Marv tell you guys what he wanted to work on during the match or before the match, and were you able to accomplish those goals?
Yeah, so I think kind of one of the unstated goals, Marv didn't say a whole lot about, we're going to work on this during this match, but I think kind of as a team we knew that this was really the first chance to go out and prove ourselves. There are so many positions where it's coming down, and these next couple weeks and these 20 hours are going to be crucial to kind of determine how that plays out for starting positions and where people are going to fit on our team. And so this was the first chance, for kind of people to kind of show what they have to offer a little bit. And like I said, first opportunity to practice as a team. So I think that's where a lot of those kind of jitters and first game nerves came out a little bit.
Obviously, this might be a better question to ask David or Marv or Sean, but I'll ask you, what coming out of this match, what do you think the team will need to work on?
Yeah, you kind of said it right there. I'm not really sure what's going on in the coaches' heads right now, but if I was kind of thinking about where we can work on, I think the serve pass game can never be understated, and I think sometimes we were caught on those float serves a little in between, taking it with our hands and stepping back and platforming it. So working a little bit with that in practice, and our offense can obviously run a little bit more smooth. And then I think, blocking wise, going into the season, we obviously scout teams a little bit more thoroughly than we did Shandong, but just making sure that we're kind of reading a little bit more and seeing how the match kind of plays out.
The one thing that stood out to me, especially in the 4th and 5th set, was how strong you guys were serving, and Max definitely had a key role in that. Can you tell us about how you guys prepared to serve, and did your guys' performance from the service line impress you?
Yeah, I think that Max gets after it whenever he's back there, and that's one of the reasons why he's in there. But definitely, I think that serving kind of comes down to that mindset of wanting to get after it and just putting your all into the serve. And, as Marv always says, anywhere in Malibu but in the net. And I think we're missing a little bit too much into the net rather than maybe in by a meter, out by a meter on sidelines and end lines. So that's a change that I think will happen once we just get more reps, because in the 3 or 4 weeks, maybe that we've been going, we've only had probably a couple hours maybe serving wise, and that's been very spread out. So serving is definitely something that I think we'll work on, and it'll improve from here.
Let's talk about the season. The two big seniors that you'll be missing will be Tommy and Tarantino. What does their graduation leave in terms of a void?
Yeah, so I think Tino's kind of been our leader both on and off the court for the past couple years, and so it's going to be, I think, a lot more leading by committee this year a little bit, I think. And it's going to depend on somebody to step up and kind of fill that leadership void, and it could be different people throughout the season. And that's one of those exciting things. But obviously, Tino and Tommy were both extremely talented players, so it's gonna be hard to fill that, and their experience was almost even more valuable. So we're gonna have some young guys filling in, and honestly, at this point, it's way too early to kind of tell and even speculate about who's gonna be filling in for that. Over the next couple weeks, I think a lot of position battles are gonna kind of play out, and we got scrimmages the next 3 or 4 weekends, and throughout those, I think it'll become a lot more clear how things are gonna shape up for season.
Can we see you as one of those leaders?
I would like to think so. We'll see. I'm just, as Marv always says, it's fulfilling your role on the team is the best to your abilities. And however the team needs me to step into that role, I will do that with all of myself. So.
Can you give us a name of a freshman or a transfer that we should keep our eyes on? We know the people that come back, like Wyzorek, that will definitely, and Mitchell will be 2 players that will definitely stand out. But give us a player, a name of a newcomer that you think that might impress us.
Can I say all of our newcomers and freshmen? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
I honestly do think that this is the deepest team that I think I've been a part of here at Pepperdine. We have 23 guys on our roster this year, so 1 through 23, could step on that court at any moment and provide a valuable lift for our team. There's not a whole lot of separation between 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the outside depth chart, and Wexter's been looking good this fall. Dave, Colby, all of our pins. I think we have six pins on the outside here, and everybody's it's a battle every single practice. And as Marv always says, the higher up the food chain you get, that margin for difference gets smaller and smaller. And honestly, at this point, it's looking like that is going to come down to minor differences between people for who's getting the playing time.
The MPSF schedule is always going to be challenging, and obviously this will be the last year that it will be a 12-team schedule. So let's get into that. Let's talk about the non-conference schedule. Can you tell us who you will be playing and how excited you are to be taking on that schedule?
Yeah, so I think for the first time in a couple years here, we're going to be traveling out of California for some non-conference games. We're going to be heading to the Chicago area to play both Lewis and Loyola in early January, and we'll be back here the day after Christmas and practicing and have a couple exhibition games maybe here that first week in January, and then get ready to take on some really good teams out of the Midwest, and that's going to be an awesome trip not only for our team but also to really kind of see where we stack up with some of the best, and it's going to be an awesome start to the season to just get after it, and I'm really looking forward to that for sure. And then MPSF is tough as always, and it's gonna be a grind. It always is.
You're obviously going to be graduated before the 5 or 6 big West teams leave the conference. But what from your perspective, what do you think that means to the MPSF, to Pepperdine, and to men's volleyball in general?
I think for men's volleyball, it's a really, really positive step forward. I think it's going to force some conversations to potentially happen about, maybe expanding the tournament again down the road, maybe, which I think would be awesome for our sport, just continuing to grow it. Pepperdine, we're still going to be playing a lot of those teams, and it's honestly very beneficial now because those matches that we've been playing, it's all counted as conference matches, and now we'll be able to count a lot of those good teams as out of conference matches, and that will definitely help with RPI and all of those statistics that ultimately kind of get put together at the end of the season to see who goes to play for it all.
A couple more questions. So you're a 4th-year senior now, and how has your perspective changed in terms of preparing for the season and the way that you approach the game?
I think that coming in as a freshman, if you're playing at this level, you were the best of the best in high school and the best of the best in club, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be here. And so coming in and, realizing that there's guys who have been here doing it for a couple of years, and just that skill difference and talent difference, and, it's just a grind. The MPSF is a grind from day one, and Marv does his best, and the coaching staff do an awesome job of making sure that we're well rested for all of our matches, but just trying to pass on that perspective of, honestly, every single point matters, and making sure that match that we're focusing on, regardless of who we're playing, that's where we're focusing our attention, because ultimately, that match could be whether we go to the NC2A tournament or stay home. So really focusing and being in that moment and ensuring that we're really getting after it. And even in practice, that starts in practice. If we're not practicing well, then there's a high correlation between how we play in practice and how that transfers to a match.
And a final question: define a successful 2017 Pepperdine men's volleyball season for us.
It's one of those things where success here at Pepperdine men's volleyball, it's expected. We're expected to be competing for that MPSF tournament. We're expected to be competing for that championship, and we're expected to be, in that running for the NC2A tournament. And once it gets to that point, I think that once those teams are there and selected, it's anybody's game. And obviously, Pepperdine hasn't been in there in a while, and as a senior, I'd love to, however I can, help get us back there. I think that would be an awesome, kind of conclusion to my career here. But obviously, one day at a time, and starts with practice on Monday.
Well, thank you for taking time with us, and all the best of luck to you and to Pepperdine in the 2017 season.
Thank you so much.